This meeting is being recorded.
Okay.
Welcome everyone to the pre-launch or the launch pre-sale of Hush Puppy, a book that is coming out from Finishing Line Press, Hush Puppy. We are so excited to have here today the author of Hush Puppy, Miss Yvette R. Murray. She is a wonderful poet that we've gotten to know. She comes all the way from South Carolina, and we are so excited to have her. So let me tell you a little bit about Miss Yvette Murray and Hush Puppy. Excuse me, Miss Yvette R. Murray. In Hush Puppy, a neighborhood, a city, and memories are more than just a neighborhood, a city, and memories. Hush Puppy is a call and response praise song to the antimony of being Black and Gullah and Southern in Charleston, South Carolina, and the world. This chapbook explores familial, societal, and community relationships with spice and a dash of humor. Hush Puppy braids love and wrath into one lyrical plait. Meet Hush Puppy at the intersection of the past and the future. Sip the bitter tea of history to explore where we are today. Yvette R. Murray is an award-winning poet and writer. She has been published in Chestnut Review, Emery's Journal, Litmosphere, A Gathering Together, and others. She is the 2022 Susan Lauder Myers Poetry Fellow, a 2021 Best New Poet Selection, a Watering Hole Fellow, and a Pushcart Prize nominee. She is a board member of the South Carolina Writers Association and the Poetry Society of South Carolina, and a member of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. And you can find her on Twitter at Miss Yvette Writes. And I would be remiss if I did not say that she is also my sorority sister. And I'm so excited and so proud to have her here today. Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, founded in 1908 on the campus of Howard University. It just had to get that out.
Get it in.
Yes. I'm so excited to have with us today Miss Yvette R. Murray. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Regina. Thank you so much. And welcome, everyone. I'm so happy that you're here. Appreciate you taking the time out just to hear a little bit about where I come from. I want to say, to start with, where the concept of the chapbook came from. I was at a poetry reading. There's a little place in downtown Charleston on the east side called the Spot 47. And they would have readings. And we were at a reading one night, and myself, a gentleman that I knew grew up in downtown Charleston, and another gentleman that I think he just I'm not sure. But we were talking about gentrification and what was going on. And he made this comment. He said, well, isn't it better than just a bunch of burnout, empty buildings? And I just thought to myself that that's all he thought our neighborhoods were. He had no concept of the racism, the institutional racism that led to these vibrant neighborhoods being nothing. And so that's where the concept came from. It's like, I have to show you, I have to tell you that that's not all it was. It was vibrant, it was full of life, it was a ecosystem that from which generations and generations grew. And that's what I want them to know. And of course, I'm telling people that think that about our neighborhoods, and people who have misconceptions about South Carolina, that think, you know, we're all running around barefoot, catching fish out the creek with our bare hands, that the South is so very much more than that. Our neighborhood so very much more than that. And our history is what makes us more. So I'm gonna start with Line Street. Corner stores, candy ladies, and dirt. Grandmothers with eyes all over their bodies. A Yad man, Fush man, and Barbara, the woman who did hair in her kitchen. In this kingdom lived magnificent energies of one purpose. Grandchildren of bondage, watering little sprouts with love and scolding as if the two were one. Some with less, some with more. Enough was always enough there. Working men eating lunch on a stoop, cashiers strutting to the second shift at Edwards, and the flow of Friday 5 o'clock laughter over a plate of hot fried fush and a cold one. I etch stone tablets because those at the bottom of the mountain bask in a lovely unknown. Hush now, I must tell it right. Ghosts are listening in the silence of rusty locks. Now, as this one you could tell, I love my city. Charleston's a beautiful place. People come from all over, everywhere to see Charleston. And it's a little bit more than that. Port City. You wear the evening hour so very well. It hugs all the curves and loves your cobblestone gams. Mesmerized I am by the mysteries of you. Closed red lips, secrets of indigo and mulatto that ghosts tell as we stroll all manner of metropolis found. I am lost in the swirl of steel, blood, and glass, phalanges folded intimately, your shadow leaping back into azaleas as if you wish not to be seen because you do keep secrets from me of coffin trees on avenues and still winds that blow. Still, my rhythm is yours and yours alone, my love. I will not share with the moon, for I am jealous, though not a god at all. A simple man who desires the complicated love you have to give. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure everybody has heard of Mother Emanuel AME Church, unfortunately. I didn't attend, I do not attend Mother Emanuel AME Church, but if you are a Black child growing up in Charleston, South Carolina, you have at some point been in Mother Emanuel AME Church. And these are notes from the back pew of Mother Emanuel AME Church. In the middle of any night, one Jimmy Choo stiletto lies on the floor. Rain pours against 12-story windows. The soiree is over and passion complete. A misplaced corporate girl tosses like flotsam. Against a background of snoring and Egyptian cotton sheets, This nightmare rages. Her footprints as they vanish from palmetto-lined streets, spray from the Atlantic drying on her pecan brown skin, a flavor she can hardly recall. Many magnolia-scented seasons have gone, and the impasse hovers, stiff pillow of regret. Of this she dreams. Pickaninny braids, we used to call them. Thick, knotted diadems of ancestry lay patiently on our necks. We would run around without shirts and nobody cared. And the sun would place bronze brushstrokes on our flat nipples. Tea parties, not in Charleston, not in Boston, but Memphis and Charleston were our social scene. Stick forks and mud pies, we knew just whom to invite. Fishnet stockings and hair all pressed, black patent leather shoes clicking. Thank you. This is my toast to the neighborhood. One thing is that people that grew up in the neighborhood, you know, a neighborhood, it's like several streets over and you don't know everybody's name, but you know they live around here somewhere. And when you see them today, you recognize each other. And the first thing we all say is, "You from downtown?" And then they'll go, "Yeah, I'm this, that, this, and you remember each other. So this poem is You from Downtown, Part 2. The Borough, West Side, East Side, and the Drive. Grown wild like ivy in our mother's yards, we now drive our own fine German cars. Our fine cars down those cobblestone streets. We have grown rich and wild away from you. Welcomed in fertile soil away from you. Corner stores closed, candy ladies gone. Candy ladies gone, corner stores closed. No scattered seeds can bloom a farce. Not an enchanted farce can they bloom. The new sprouts dream pretty history, dreams of a pretty new history future. Who will sew up their dreams if they rip? If they rip the dreams, who will mend them now? Grown wild like ivy in our mother's yards. And that came from the great Jericho Brown. It's a duplex. I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and she made the comment that it's just nostalgia. No, it's not. My nostalgia ain't like yours. It's wearing a brand new pair of feet. The old ones got worn out. My nostalgia has been against the law in these United States, still are in several of them. My nostalgia has water added to dilute it. My nostalgia has been lied on, lied on, lied on. My nostalgia has a shot of espresso. My nostalgia is brick. My nostalgia is wool. My nostalgia flows like the Nile. My nostalgia is in blue. My nostalgia lives in the inner city. And my nostalgia lives behind God's back. My nostalgia is the singularity you drool. Thank you. I know many of you had mamas like my mama, and my mama insisted that I iron my clothes at all times. And so this is the ode to the creases in my pants. You, meticulous detail of mine, garner admiring looks. Sit with me at the head of any table. You open doors for me like a Southern gentleman. Your power never ending. You put fear in its place and lock it there. See, I feel particularly powerful when the creases in my pants are so sharp they cut the palms of my hands. Mountain ridges created by heat and spray starch on my blue linen slacks. That's that casket sharp, that conquering a world that don't want you sharp. I get this from my mama. Although I, in sheer defiance, rebelled like the Russian citizenry in 1917. It was actually 1975, and that teen thing told me that I don't need no creases in my pants to make it. I can raise my fist and do anything I wanted, except plow through that wall in universities or bank offices trying to get mortgages if I look like yesterday's newspaper left on a park bench. She insisted, and like all good rebellions, mine came to an end, or I came to my senses, or I went back to my future. Generations have been wired in violence, tuned for this moment right here. She was one of the first to raise her fist by plowing through walls with creases and the magnificent, intelligent talent and wit that are in our genome. Who am I to argue with that? Oh, thank you. Dear future African Americans, like smoke from many fires, my mind drifted often through swamp, cotton fields, and woods to you. I dreamed of you, wearing shoes every day, reading books in school, going to college, getting your master's. I saw you in your fine living room. I saw you pound a gavel. I saw you in your office. I saw you in the operating room, and I saw you in the White House. I dreamed of all your businesses, you owning the buildings and all your big dreams coming to life. I dreamed of you in all your glory. Then I waded through the maze of years in this swamp called America. I set fires, doused fires, and laid brick upon brick upon brick until I had built you a house. This honors the ancestors for me. The women in my mother's generation had a certain something. The men in that generation, the men and women in the generation before that, I know they dreamed of us. I know they thought about us. And they laid foundations. Sometimes I wonder if we could do what they done. Could we have been that brave? Can we in 2023 be that brave? Can we set fires, douse fires, lay bricks? Can we do all of what's necessary that they did for us? Our ancestors were amazing, magnificent people. And they deserve that we speak their names, we speak of them as often as we possibly can. And then again, there's a wonderful poem by Denise Froman called Accents. She was one of the facilitators at Watering Hole Conference. And I actually started writing this poem as a conversation to my Latina sister about what we had in common. However, Gullah had something else to say about it when I started writing. Accents after Denise Froman. Sister, my mama has the sky in her mouth too. She carries beautiful Hausa, rhythmic Igbo, and exquisite Yoruba all smashed into one gumbo called Gullah. Gullah, the language of survival. In muck of rice fields and muck of this republic, it flows with a rhythm so deep, 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 it has to be eaten as all good gumbo should, with cornbread. We know that the beauty of this Creole is living on nothing. thriving in mist, governed by the moon itself. Gullah pounds the shore like the tide, dragging grains of sand to build islands elsewhere. Hidden deep within our throats, language of rebellion, seen in the eyes, heard in the tilt of a chin. My mama brought it to me with the pride of bare feet. We are yet being used, bought, sold, traded, packed, shipped, and pilfered. For now, poachers take Gullah like ivory and put her on their trinkets to sell. Thank you, thank you. Come back. This your home. It's a bop for 2020. The problem, the elder shouted, is louder trees speak, the less you hear. And the less you hear, fewer recipes you remember. Less you cook, more you eat dirt. Come back. This your home. The problem, the elder whispered, has been around since a white lion. Since about the time that money was money, folk walked off plantations into another white nightmare. Integrations and red lines, away from rhythms that breathe underwater. Come back. This your home. Let blood memory guide you back to purple mindscape. Then you will not eat dirt. Drink sassafras, strong horse tea, be a midwife or potter, sow sweetgrass, and build strong mountains again. Come back. This your home. I end with manifesto. Thank you, thank you. Ring the bell. I ring the bell for Gullah Geechee dark whispers. I ring the bell for desolation after establishment. I ring the bell for tiny fingerprints in plantation brick. Ring, ring, ring the bell. Thank you.
That was absolutely fabulous. I'm just so,
Thank you.
I'm just so undone. When I was listening to you, I was thinking about these ties that bind us up and down this coast. I think I've told you before, I have family that they live right on the intercoastal waterway. I can imagine like in a place in eastern North Carolina. And from where they are, you can get to where your people are from. And I just felt that. It felt so familiar. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. So
we all Geechee.
Right. Right. I think there are those among us who have questions they would like to ask. So I want to make space for people to ask questions. I know Karen likely has some questions, and we're going to invite others as well to maybe reveal to us some of the things about your process and whatnot. So I'm gonna turn it over to Karen Stewart. Karen, let's see. I think I can do like a multi-pin. No.
A multi.
No, you can do a multi-pin. I can't do a multi-pin.
How do I do a multi-pin?
I don't know. Let me see.
They changed their Zoom on us today for some reason.
They did. Okay.
Everything's all upside down. Let's see.
It is. Okay, hold on just a second. I'm going to reclaim host. Let's see if I can do it.
Regina, you might need to go. Well, you're the host, so you're good.
Okay, I'm the host, so I'm good. Okay, so let me see. Karen, where'd you go?
Y'all bear with us.
Bear with us. We're getting there. There she is.
This is some grassroots Zooming we got going here.
Absolutely happy.
There we go. Yes, yay, Regina. Okay, I'm going.
It's always an experience.
All right. So you all are pinned together.
Oh my goodness. Yvette, that was such a treat and just amazing. Oh my great goodness. I just have like my own questions in my head about, I just want to know everything about your process. But I do want, if anybody else has other questions, you guys unmute yourself and ask, but I'm just going to get this going. Yvette, can you just talk a little bit about your process for pulling this amazing book that is coming out, you guys? Getting the poems, how did you put this book together? How did these poems come to be in this book? Can you talk about that a little bit? Oh, we got you muted. Now, how'd that happen? Let's get Yvette unmuted. Regina, help me out.
Yvette, you are muted, so your microphone shows it. So if you can hit the microphone. There you go.
There you go.
Okay,
All right.
we good? There we go.
Not to put you on the spot.
Oh no, it came together very kind of organically. These are things that I wrote about. Some pieces of these things have been in existence for a long time. Like the Mother Emanuel poem, the bottom part was all there was to the poem. When I was younger, I just wrote that bottom part. And then, you know, as you get older and you see things taking place, you realize that some people have left Charleston and they really want to come back, but they had to leave to survive, to make it. And I was just wondering what it would be like for someone who had to leave and she misses home, but she's losing it. You know what I mean? She's forgetting the recipes. She's forgetting that feel. We all know how it feels to go to the beach and the spray that's in the air. I didn't have to explain that to anybody. The spray that's in the air from the water hits you and it dries your skin. It's not, you know, it's not water droplets. It's just the spray. And those little things about home, she's forgetting it. And that's where it came from. They just came together, and call and response music is something that's very close to the African American community. And so that's how the book is. The first poems that I read are like the call, and the response are the last ones. So that's how the book is separated.
Well, I do want to say this before we go any further. So this is what the book is going to look like. And it is in pre-sales right now, which means that it is a great time to go to Finishing Line Press online and type in the name of the book, Hush Puppy, or Yvette's name, and you'll get all the information about the book, some great quote, great praise for these poems, Yvette. And you can order the book. And the reason it's important to do that before it's published is that kind of helps determine how many the publisher is going to print. And I know we want Yvette to have tons of books out there because people need to read these poems. People need to read these poems. So I just wanted to, yeah, y'all, all you got to do, go to Finishing Line Press. I'm not being compensated for this advertisement. Finishing Line Press, and they do a great job. Several of the people in this room have books that have been published by them. Beautiful books. Hush Puppy, Yvette R. Murray, you guys. Whew. Anyway, that's my shameless plug. I cannot wait to get this book in my hands. I'm just so excited. Yvette, I did want to ask you one other question. Excuse me. So I know that a lot of the poems are in form. They're in form. They're not just free verse. So can you talk about your process for like how does one poem end up in a certain form? Like what's going on in your head with that? Tell me about the magic.
I believe that form serves a purpose. Meaning if I use a particular form, there's something about the subject matter that form suits. I don't just pick one and say, okay, you're going to be a sonnet. It's something about it. And believe it or not, I did not like using forms. I felt like I don't need forms. I just want to be, I just want to put my words on the paper and I don't want forms. But then I realized that editing, that's where the beauty comes in. And that using form helps you to be more creative, because if you only have a certain amount of syllables that you can use, you have to pick a word that suits the meaning of what you're trying to say, as well as fits the syllabic count that's needed. So it brings out the beauty in the words by using forms. And when I found that out, I was like, oh man, this is great. And it is great because that's where the beauty comes from. I used to think when I was young and stupid that everything that I wrote down, when it came out of my head, I wrote it down, is etched in stone. And I thought that writing stuff over and over and over meant there was something wrong with me. I felt that it just needed to come out and that was it. And then I heard a quote by Patricia Smith, and she said that she was working on this poem and she got finished with it and she started all over because she felt she could do better. And I said, wait a minute, girl, you got this all wrong. If Patricia Smith can rewrite her poems, I'm rewriting mine. And that's kind of how that happened.
Well, it's
we learn,
working.
don't we? We learn.
It is working for you. It's amazing.
I've learned to love the word draft. It's a draft.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the form too, there's so much beautiful music in the rhythms and the sounds and the repetition. And I think a lot of that's coming from the form. And you've picked, it's like you have the form and you have found the perfect words to dance through that form. It's delightful. I can't wait to see the poems on the page. And this is coming from, I don't write in form. I haven't found that magic yet. I'm still at that dum-dum stage where I'm like, I'm just putting it on the page. You've inspired
and sometimes me. That works too.
Maybe. Oh, just beautiful. Did anybody else have a question or comment they wanted to run by Yvette?
Before we got started, you were talking to us about the image on your book. Can you share with the audience what inspired that, where you got it from, all of that?
Yes, definitely. That is part of, actually, it's most of, actually, a piece called Shadow World by Linda Fantuzzo. She's an oil and watercolor artist here in Charleston. And this poetry group that I'm in, we did an ekphrastic project where we went to her studio and we all just kind of sat around and looked at her works and wrote poems from her pieces that spoke to us. And this piece spoke to me because something was there. You don't build steps to nowhere. Something was there and now it's not. And that just went so in line with the neighborhoods and the cities and our towns that I thought it was perfect. And we did a program at City Gallery where her pieces were hung up and we came and read the poems that went with the pieces. And it was really interesting. She's really great. That particular piece was bought by a collector in California. So it's no longer here. But she's a great artist. She did a whole series on shadows.
Right.
And so it was really interesting. I mean, it's really interesting when you think about it, that there's all these shadows there, but the steps are illuminated.
Yeah.
So that makes you think something else. And I'll tell you guys a funny story too. My writing coach, and with this project, he's Spanish, and he said to me, he said, Yvette, why don't you write a poem about slaves? And I said in my head, I didn't say it out loud, I was like, why I gotta write a poem about slaves? You write up a poem about slaves. But I wrote the poem. I said, okay, all right, you want me to write a poem about slaves? My slaves are gonna escape. And in the poem, my slaves burnt the house down, which would make sense. Nothing was left but the steps. My slaves burnt the house down and they escaped. So that's how that came to be, out of rebellion yet again.
You know, that leads me to another question. I just was thinking as you were talking, and as you revealed that the name of this piece is Shadow World. I was just thinking about how, I'm sure, like many of us, a lot of little Black church. I grew up a church girl. I was, I was a church girl, and I still, have an interesting faith system that's based on that in place. And so, but my question is, how much does this sense of spirituality, maybe even outside of what we consider to be like an organized faith system as we know it here in this, how much does that play in the writing of your in your work? Do you ever draw
a lot?
Okay.
A lot, I think. I believe in like getting up and just word vomiting on the paper. Like one of my favorite times to write is getting up about 4:35 in the morning, just getting up, brush my teeth a little bit, go turn on the laptop, and then just go. There'll normally be a piece that I'm working on or something that I'm working on. And my writing coach describes it as a trance. He said, you're kind of in a trance and you're writing. And you know that time when you're going to sleep and right when you wake up, those are great times. Apparently you can recreate that alpha state by taking a shower also, in the shower. And so I'm big into the different brain states and getting myself into the brain state at any time. There's music that I listen to at 528 hertz. It's for creativity, to get you into what's called a hypnagogic state. And you listen, there's this one that's about 40 minutes long, and it sounds like that's what it sounds like for 40 minutes, but it's the different wavelengths, and I listen to it, and the most creative stuff comes out of that. So it's like taking advantage of what happens, because we all know we can be like, I don't feel like writing today. That's ridiculous. We are professionals. You can put yourself in that state. You can get into that state where your hyper creativity is there. You just have to do certain things. So yeah, back on the metaphysical again.
Right. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah. That's interesting, because that's sleeping. That's
really
time between the sleeping and the waking. I tell when people ask me, I always say that is where it comes. That's when I am the most. Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't want to take up all the questions. Do we have any questions?
Wow, that's a great idea.
Huh?
Gotta write that down.
Yeah. Right.
Did anybody else have a question they wanted to ask, or a comment, question, comment?
I have a comment and a question. You made me laugh so much because my mother still irons everything to this day. And so I just had to tell you that. But my actual poetry question is, all of your last lines were so powerful. Do you have like last lines in mind sometimes when you start, or do you just let it flow and let that come to you? Or do you have lines in mind when you start?
So sometimes the last line is there. Sometimes I go beyond where the last line should be. Like in Line Street, and this is why I really believe in having good people around you, good editors around you, because good beta readers, because sometimes you will write the poem and it's really close to you, and like that last stanza was backwards than the way it is now. It ended with the people basking in the lovely unknown instead of the ghosts. And in one editing session, the ghosts were shown to be where it should end, the most important part. And to think about it, it's the people. It should end with the people. So it's just, I think it's really important to have people around you that you trust. I vet the people that I let read my stuff very carefully. I have a writers group of people that I watched for a whole year. I watched to see where they went, what things they went to, were they at the things that I attended, to see that they were really serious. Because I think it's really important to be careful who you let read your work, because they can say something or shrug something off or behave in a way that can really hurt you for a while. I mean, we have enough to do for ourselves to get the words on the paper. We don't need somebody else to come along and just, blow us off. Or sometimes I think if you put your words in the wrong hands, people will they'll say things about your work because they're jealous of it, because it's good. So you just have to be careful who you let read your work, and don't be afraid to take a suggestion from somebody, because that last paragraph was completely switched around.
Thanks. That helps a lot. That was a great answer.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. We were just talking in the chat about how common energy is important in collaboration. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, that is true. So true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, with Port City started out as just like all of the parts that I consider to be like teeth, like the part about the coffin trees on the avenues. It was just a beautiful love poem to Charleston. And I took it to this group. This was a while back. And the person that read it, she said, well, I can tell you like Charleston. And, that was kind of all she said. And I understood what she meant, because she meant that where are the teeth, but she didn't say that. And so in my mind, I was like, oh my God, this poem is terrible. I'm gonna throw it away. It's no good. And it took me months to get back over that and do what needed to be done with the piece.
I think
I'm happy now because it's that piece.
Huh? What did you say? I'm sorry, I missed that. I think I might have talked.
Well, I said that's what I felt like. It needed some teeth, it needed these lines about the secrets of indigo and mulatto, and I'm lost in the swirl of steel, blood, and glass. Just it needed the teeth. So I understood what she meant, but she could have handled it better, and it was bad.
Yeah.
I think that's really.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think Joan has a question. I see her hand raised. She's been look.
Oh, Joan's being polite.
Using her
Okay.
technology.
That's not my real hand.
That's not you.
Yvette, you mentioned a writing coach. Can you explain the role of your writing coach and how you use a writing coach?
He reads most of my stuff. And he also brings lessons to me, like showing me different forms and different things. And he'll say, get rid of that last line. This is where the poem ends. But the funny thing is he'll say one thing and come back and say something different. So it's like he's helping me to think about it. He comes up with cool titles sometimes. That's not really I wouldn't say that. I would say it's something I kind of struggle with sometimes, and he comes up with these really cool titles. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. I like that. But it's like almost like a coach in a sport, you know? Like he teaches and listens, and we at the end of, I think it might have been Line Street, he and I were arguing back and forth about, the line originally said, I etch stone tablets for those at the bottom of the mountain bask in a lovely unknown. And he was changing it in a way that meant I wrote it for these people. And I did not write it for them. I wrote it because they're basking in an unknown. And so we went back and forth about that. And I didn't agree with him. And here comes another editor. I submitted it to a magazine here in Charleston. I think it was Catfish Stew. And we were talking about that. And she said, why not just say because? Duh. That says exactly what I want to say, because. And so, you know, sometimes we're just looking for that word, and we want a poet word, a poety word. We're looking for this word when sometimes the simplest word will just do. But he's really good. He's good. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we do disagree sometimes, so that's okay.
I saw the great Ashley Lumpkin into the room.
Oh,
Hey,
hello.
Yeah. Ashley, did any of you, if anybody has any questions, if not, we're gonna proceed on to what I'm sure is gonna be a fire open mic.
Open mic.
Yes. And so if you would put your name in the chat, if you have the desire to read a piece for our open mic as we celebrate Miss Yvette R. Murray and the releasing in the pre-releasing of her book Hush Puppy. We're really excited. I think, you know, tonight she gave us the hush puppies and the grits and the catfish, and I'm excited. I've already bought my copy, and so I'm excited about it, and we want you to buy yours too. If you look in the meeting chat, I believe, Karen,
It's at the beginning. I'll put it in there again once we get the open mic going. I'll put the link in there again.
Okay. Okay.
When's the release date? Do you have one yet?
Oh, that's a good question,
June
Chris.
16th.
Cool.
Oh yeah. I got my galleys back today and finishing.
Oh, yay.
Yes, it's the second galley. So this is, you know, we're right here. My date is supposed to be March the 31st, but they're running a little bit behind. So they say maybe like 2 weeks. So it'll be like maybe mid-April. early to mid-April. So looking forward to that. So I'm
I
looking
got
at,
mine.
huh?
I got mine.
Yes, yes. Thank you. And thank you to all of you who have. It's just really an exciting time. I think there was a lot of generativity, I guess that's a word, during the quarantine. People were pulling it together and getting it together. And it's wonderful. I've seen some really great work coming out. So I'm excited. So we have Laura, and we have Joan, and we have Marlanda, and Christy.
Chris.
Yes. And I'm going down the road. Julio. And Cal. Madison.
Yay.
I know Ashley Lumpkin is not gonna hold back her.
I know.
work.
Come on, Ashley.
Come on. maybe
Hey, she needs to check it out, maybe.
go check it out first, right?
Oh, she's just listening tonight. All right. Well, that's
Okay.
all right. That's
Okay.
all right. We
Okay.
like that.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna start it off with the incomparable Miss Laura Younger. If you would come on down and grace us, I'm going to unpin our very apt host with the most, Miss Karen Stewart. And but I'll be repinning. Okay. All right. And we have Laura coming to you. In the words of Malika, coming to you. Yeah. There we go.
Okay, everybody. This is a short one. It will be appearing in Pine Song now that winners and honorable mentions have been noticed. This was an honorable mention for the McDill prize. It's called The Sound of Perfume. I can still smell the air thick with scent of King Edward's, cigars my grandfather smoked before one lung was lost, his larynx stolen. I remember the smoke, but not the sound of his voice before he croaked a warning at us for climbing the chestnut tree to reach the roof of the chicken coop, rotting beneath neat green shingles. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much for sharing that. I had the pleasure of hearing that the other day in a session. You know, Laura's one of my poetry sisters. Okay, so next we have Miss Joan. Are we ready, Miss Joan? I'm pinning you.
Yes, we're not only ready, this poem is temporarily dedicated to Regina, and she'll know why. Fidelity. I have kept my childish faith in God. Blessings have from time to time been a climb uphill blindfolded. Manna has rained down on my head, and I knew not how to eat. God has beaten within my chest, and I have pummeled him back. I knew him to be there. I prayed aloud, be with me, be with me. His answer came as it always has, I am here. When I was a child, I believed as a child, and I still do to this day, simply in God, whose heartbeat will sound in my grave.
Yes, absolutely beautiful. And yes, I know why. Joan and I had the very unique experience. As a matter of fact, I had the experience probably because Joan put my name forward but we were part of the Sacred Nine Project at Tulane University. And it was just wonderful. And that poem that she read was also set to music. And so it's beautiful. for that reason, and also for the reason that that's something that I really can connect to what you were talking about. I think I may have alluded to that earlier. So thank you for sharing that. Oh, that's a wonderful poem and a wonderful memory.
Regina's poem and my poem were set to music and sung by the Tulane choir.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was a unique experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got the opportunity. They sang, and then he had me to send in a video of me performing the poem. So he put he synthesized those or whatever, and it was great. An experience that I will never forget, and I have Joan to thank for that. So thank you.
And we were sitting together, and my daughter was with us. We were over the moon.
Over the moon. Yes. Yes. All right. Marlanda. Am I saying that correctly? Marlanda?
Very close, Marlanda.
Marlanda. Okay.
Yeah.
Come on down. I'm coming to you. Let me find you. Okay. Oh, let me remove that pen. That might help. Okay. Yeah, there you are. Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
This is Crossing. My ma learned how to suffer for a house, and the family heard her desires in a 28-song cycle of I Shall Not Want. When I was 2, I'd cry until I choked to see my grandma's face one more time. I'll imagine I am her, singing our own holy, 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 and her 5 boys aren't fibroids growing in my womb here. I ain't a woman, but they don't mind me being. I am full, and I feel like a hydrangea bush looks. I ain't a man either. If somebody asks if dying is worse, I'm here. Blue jays whisper and my blood knows why before I do. I listen to the river tell me my hands are my mother's, making my heart is my papa's smile searching for its wake. And when they sing, I'll fly away, let me go. Where the road I grew up on is overgrown with blue, bottles that rise from the river and flood ditches. While I fish for brim the color of stars on their full moon beds, I'll get there, even though all else alive carries the weight of 10 rocks on their tongues, their mouth stuck in the shape of need. Thank you.
Oh my Lord. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh my goodness. Miss Yvette, is this someone you mentor as well? Is Marlanda someone you mentor as well?
I need to be.
I'm making it happen for you right here.
We're gonna do that the other way around.
I'm telling you, oh my gosh. Are you in South Carolina, Marlanda?
I am. I'm about an hour from Yvette. If you're in Charleston, I'm in Georgetown,
Yep.
South Carolina, so about an hour.
Okay.
There's no reason why we have it. We gotta, yeah, we gotta link up.
Do better.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we absolutely do.
Yes, thank you so much. That was absolutely wonderful. All right, Miss Christy L. Williams, I'm coming to you.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is the most Southern thing I've ever written. And Regina, every time I read this, she tells me she loves it and wants cornbread every time I read it. So here we go. Praise the scavenger hunt. I found white sand whose black underbelly hides in the ink of my tattooed right ankle. Live hose pipes sneaking around corners, trailing between treasure hunts and dining chair forts, reinforced with Oreos and homemade magic. Wood carved back scratchers and crank turn ice cream churns, grapevines and clotheslines. Messed that up. Grapevines and clotheslines witnessing fried bologna sandwiches, picnicking with Duke's mayonnaise under the apple tree. Dry roast salted peanuts, begging to be sipped from a glass bottle baby coke. Backdoor flip-flops, fighting to free themselves from corn silk still dogging their heels. Fat back, collard greens, and cast iron skillet cornbread lures, baiting Santa's bounty far better than any kitchen concocted cookie ever could. Shoeboxes busting at the seams with used to coulds. Do what? And on my souls, countertops inundated with deep fried, door-stopping, crazy Christian casseroles, seasoned with Jesus is watching you. And don't forget bedtime prayers, washed down with don't think you can talk to him, desserts, half full jars of grandma's molasses, waging war against Motown melodies, oozing along the outer edges of a Percy Sledge groove, an arsenal aimed at keeping them knees stuck together. Fires I started with a dead level stare, and the still smoldering ashes spit from my tongue. Shattered mirrors that cut me loose from the singular view feminine elders used to frame me. Praise the needle and thread that patch these pieces of being. Blessed be the quilt that stills my soul. Thank you.
Christy L. Williams, ladies and gentlemen, she's out here preaching North Carolina. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Christy. Next we have Mr. Giulio Magrini from Pittsburgh.
That's right.
I'm looking. Hold on just a minute. I'm going to come into you. I'm going to pin you so that I can find you right here.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Want to present my buzzkill poem of the night. A comedic comparison of the social media poets versus the older traditional dead artists. This is called From the Strangled Artists Whispering to the Dead. We offer our scribbling wanderings to the world through substance of art and literature, through the structured and learned halls of academia reside the totality of poetry. An aesthetic jumble here, an incomprehensible insight there, a precise axis of contempt erupts in a semi-literate sandbox, and you wonder if these are the playgrounds of Pablo, Sylvia, and Langston. Are these examinations virtuosity or clever comedic extracts? A snare drum rolls with a gaudy declaration. This is one from my innovation period. We are the community of living writers, avoided and impractical, disrespected by the beloved generic, used to elevate patriarchal arrogance staring downward. Look for us among the unpaid, visualizing, dreaming, yearning, maudlin recantations. We write in tears and frustration, reflect our anger of world like our stiff predecessors before us. Their ancient dust seasons our time, and we in sequence yearn to enhance the future. Befuddled by our position in this technique, a perverted clock has governed every artist's time, from today's strangled doodles to yesterday's dead, dutifully studied and quoted. We can accept the army of spirits from the past, but it's more difficult to explain skulking ghosts as they lurk on the internet. They compose intricacies of words and thoughts, flaunting ambiguous stones they hope will mature in the earth of our soil. Amongst their choking animations, they petition like wild dogs for likes to satiate their rendered literate hunger. The homeless want $1, their last capital spent on a marker and cardboard, not unlike the tomfoolery of writers. We cut from the street to the strange dynamic of the corroded icons in decay, to the scurrilous dilly-dally of panting cannibals, excreting emoticon, diplomacy, and drivel. Maya, Yeats, and Bukowski left us with inspiration, not social media dynamic. No words are for sale, even when we try.
I'm on mute. Wonderful. I'm just talking. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Julio Magrini. He never disappoints. And we so enjoy his soulful reading. Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Okay.
the opportunity.
We have Mr. Cal North in the building, Zoom building. I'm going to pin. And Cal, you can unmute.
I just did. Thank
Okay,
you,
good.
Regina. All right. This is from my one and only book, Mystical Fictions. And this one happens to be one of the more fictional, probably the most fictional in my book. It's called Jack Kerouac in the 21st Century. The so-called father of the hippies is old now and he feels it. Hasn't had a drink since he sold his old typewriter at an antique shop for 2 bottles of cheap muscatel. It was 1969, October 21st. That night in St. Pete, he passed out, woke up in the vineyard, San Joaquin Valley, married sweet Terry, helped raise her Mexican son. Hasn't written a word since joining AA. Worked himself back to health, picking grapes with Terry and the boy. He watches sports on TV and taught the kids to play football like he did. Star halfback at Lowell High School and Columbia College. He misses his old friends, those Dharma bums, reads their books and laughs at how it all turned out, and he's satisfied with his roots in the hot soil. Thinking about another trip, thinking he knows the road now, not the big red line from point to point, but the twists and turns. He studies online maps. His excited gut butterflies turn to dreams. But now old Jack has no desire to go, just the fondly remembered movies that play in his clear and sober head. Thank you.
I start talking before I can unmute myself. I was saying beautiful, wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you for doing this.
Yes, it's been a wonderful evening. And I just feel so fortunate, so blessed to be in the room with all of you this evening. And certainly Miss Yvette R. Murray. Yeah. Next we're gonna have Miss Madison. Madison, you ready?
Hi. Yes, ma'am.
I'm pinning
Okay.
you now. Yes.
This poem is something that I wrote, I want to say the first semester of my junior year, so last year. I submitted it to Scholastic Art and Writing this year, and it got a Silver Key for a regional award. So it's one of my favorite ones that I've written, and it will be in my book. So it's called Road Tripping and the Little Girl Who Sits in the Front Seat. We're going 45, dragging behind the speed limit as the polyester of the seatbelt strap fits tightly across my chest. You tell me how my favorite candy used to be Lifesaver gummies, like when you were a little girl, how I slide them on my fingers like rings and then bite them free. Once you told me you wished to have a daughter, adorable in sailor dresses and flat leather Velcro shoes. By the time you were pregnant with me, you fantasized of toy trucks and superhero comic books. I always laugh at the irony, how it took you 2 pregnancies to finally get the baby boy you anticipated. But girls were always more difficult, more effort. I've wondered if I would have been able to tune out my colic as a baby as easily as I tune out you telling me to stop being so entitled, that I am merely Mercury and not the sun it revolves around. So I stay silent when you take 2 wrong left turns, and I debate on telling you that we're actually driving in circles, because regardless, we are a work in progress. Like the seesaws you were concerned I never liked, we're always teeter-tottering between tantrums and pacified stillness, waiting to see which of us will open the car door first. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh my goodness. I wish
Thank you.
I just am so in awe of what I'm calling you young people because I'm not young people. So but I'm just so in awe of the opportunities that are available for you to get your work out there. That's wonderful. And I just look forward to just seeing, you know, all that you do. It's so exciting. That's so
Thank you.
all right. All right. Okay. Next, Miss Karen. Miss
Okay.
Karen.
I was just reposting in the chat. I hope everybody's been looking at the chat because there's some great comments in there. And I just wanted to post again the web address for where you can purchase Yvette's upcoming book. And if you forget to do that or you lose the link, just remember Finishing Line Press, Hush Puppy. Finishing Line Press, Hush Puppy.
Where's the
That's
picture?
all you got to know. Finishing Line Press, Hush Puppy. There you go.
Where's the picture?
Oh, the picture, yeah. And that, when you go there and you go to Finishing Line Press and you type in Hush Puppy, this is what you will see. And there's some really great praise for the book there. So that's, yeah. Y'all check it out. It's gonna be so good. Okay, I'm gonna read a poem. I have been reading, I love Ted Kooser's poetry so much, former poet laureate Ted Kooser. And I've been reading a book of his poems called Winter Walks, that he was writing 1 poem a day when he would take his morning walk while he was recovering from cancer and his cancer treatments. So here we go. This is after reading one of those poems. Not about weather or onions or March 11, sunny and mild, the poem you wrote on this date 24 years ago. With the light of this day so brilliantly bright, and the tease of these clouds so delicately white, and the dancing of this sky such a breezy delight, it's the blueness of the blue in the height of the high that's impossible to pin, with its piercing infinity so inviting the seeking of my soul and mind's eye. I have timer set for an hour of concrete writing in this room full of windows and hot tea and candles and a plate full of slices of peanut buttered Honeycrisp apple. With the whispering warm of mid-March settling deep into soil here, cajoling the delicate sleep of small bulbs to stir into stretching even their slenderest, tenderest shoots into growing up into sweet as scallion or savory as onion, I feel so ensconced on my own, in my own, so seemingly fragile, so delicately layered, so almost translucent, papery skins. This is mostly to say that the sky is so full of itself, it is filling me up and away today and yesterday and tomorrow and back into all of the yesterdays ever, yours or mine, yours and mine, before or since, forever, for every ever. It's that good, even though I can't even begin to write adequately about it. Ted Kooser, y'all.
Yeah, yeah. That's my girl Karen Stewart though.
He inspires me. Well, I would like to hear from my girl, Miss Regina Yvette Carter Garcia.
Oh, wow.
I know you got a poem up your sleeve. Come on.
I do, you know.
You got to keep a poem up your sleeve at all times.
So I was struggling with what I was going to read, but then Sister Yvette over there started talking about fire.
All right.
And you know I'm the fire talker's daughter. There's that, right?
Yes, Regina's got a book coming out, y'all.
Yeah, but you know it's not about me. It's about this is about YR, not RY, but in honor of YR.
Did everybody hear that part? I don't think everybody heard that
They
part.
didn't hear that
Her
part.
name
Oh, no, that was
is
early. Yeah.
Regina Yvette, and my name is Yvette Regina. What are the odds?
What are the odds? There's so many points of connection. It's just crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you had come on with this Ivy box sweater, I don't even know what what I would have done.
What would have happened?
All right. Okay. This poem was actually it is the last poem in my upcoming book, The Fire Talker's Daughter. And it is also published in Backstory of the Poem in both video and print form. And so it is entitled, This Fire Tastes Like. This fire won't look like the last ones did. Singed souls torn up, crying, wondering how to get love back, how to fix life, how to repair. The last fires tasted like loss, tasted like shame, tasted like despair, tasted like mourning, tasted like no way out, tasted like no way back, tasted like Tulsa, tasted like Elaine, tasted like Watts, tasted like Wilmington, tasted like old Epps High, tasted like all it had consumed. This fire tastes different though. This fire tastes fed up. This fire has eyes set beyond loss, beyond prison, beyond death, beyond the graves. This fire has new eyes fixed on that new Jerusalem. New fire going to propel these children into promised land. They won't need the water of the oppressors because they are children of living waters and raging fires. An earth that has promised fertility, yet pushed out weeds to choke and distract. This fire tastes different. It tastes like energy, tastes like righteous fury. Its fuel is dark kindling root. It will combust from a place so deep, so misunderstood, so underestimated that it will not be contained. This fire tastes different. It tastes like resolve. It will reject any attempts to thwart combustion, the internal combustion. It will incinerate attempts at trickery, for it has seen the video and believes. It saw murderous hubris. It saw the dead that were tried for dying. It saw the solid stance of patronizing defiance of other fires. It saw the lies stifling acrid air. This fire tastes different, y'all. It tastes alive. It will not stop until there is nothing left that can stop it. It will then scoop the ashes and build Jerusalem. Yeah, this fire tastes different. This fire tastes like revelation. This fire tastes like change. This fire tastes like hope. Thank you.
Pass the collection plate.
Thank you. We thank you so much for just giving us a reason to come here to gather today. This has been an awesome evening. And I don't want to leave it ending on my voice. I want to leave it ending with the lady of the evening.
Thank you.
Ms. Yvette Regina Murray.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. And you have the floor. I'm removing my pen. I am pinning you. Yes. Take it away.
Got one for you. This is the poem in which words don't deserve this. They have been around for a long time, served us well. Why then do we use them like poisoned blue darts? Words have been so kind as to adapt They want to stay relevant too. But we spit them in the red plastic cups like back of juice and leave them on the side of the road. They never harmed us, but we turned them ugly side out, pit them against each other, used our fangs to inject venom. The poor words can't be unheard. The ring after of their scent makes folk mad. I hope they don't cry. I hope they don't die by suicide. I hope they don't vanish within. Then we will never again find the words. They might like that though. Scrub clean with different color hair. They can hold hands, stroll the streets, carry their shopping bags, or look for a bistro in peace. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I want you to make sure you save the chat so you can see
Okay.
the comments.
Okay.
And if it gets misplaced, I can send it to you again.
Okay.
Anybody else who wants to save the chat, if you go down to the bottom of the chat section, you'll see like this little dog-eared paper down at the bottom, and you click on that and it will save the chat file. Some wonderful voices here on this evening.
Oh my
I can't
goodness.
wait to hear more from
Mhm.
all of you. And I feel like we're establishing a South Carolina connection that we don't want to let go.
Right?
Right?
Yes,
Regina,
we
can we-
are.
Can
Yeah.
everybody unmute so we can just do like a rousing,
Yeah.
crazy amount of applause?
Yes.
Can everybody just
Woo!
unmute
This was
themselves?
amazing.
Yeah, you guys, please. Woo!
Hooray.
Excellent.
Thank
Thank
you.
So
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Yvette. Oh my
Wonderful.
goodness.
everybody make sure you get that
What a
link
night.
and support Miss Yvette R. Murray. I look forward to the book. I look forward to just the more that I know is coming. And I just wish you all a great evening. And don't be strangers. We'll be putting on some more things. We want you to come and be a part of that.
So Regina, how do
Yes.
people do that? Can they friend you or friend me on Facebook? Is
Yes,
that
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, y'all do that. If you're
Yeah,
not
do that.
friends, be friends.
Yeah.
Find us on Facebook because we're doing some Zooms.
Right.
There you are. Great.
We are. And if you
We
get
are
to
zooming some
Greenville,
poetry.
we'll throw some party. We'll throw some poetry party, throw some jam for you, maybe over there to Merge, and that'll be
There you
great.
go.
Yeah. there you go.
Absolutely.
That's it. All right, everybody. You all have a good evening.
Have a good night. Thank you
Have a
all for
good night.
coming.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So fabulous.
You guys are awesome.
No, it's you.
It's you.
It's you. It's you.